think that was the difference with the 60s, is that people didn't care to explain themselves. People, you know, if people didn't get it, they weren't invited.
The last chance you had to shock people, just by the way you looked, just by the way you were, you know. You didn't even have to think about it or work at it at all. You could just walk down the street and people would go, oh my God, you know. That was fun.
Marty just came up and asked, hey, do you want to start a band? To a total stranger. I said, sure, why not? It seemed to be the thing to do at the time.
Here, music is blaring forth from the open windows of an apartment on the corner of Haight and Ashbury, while in the street below, a crowd of hippies celebrates the sunny day. Traffic stops. The crowd grows. Finally, the police roll in with paddy wagons and nightsticks.
We were much too busy being in the middle of the 60s to wonder, even to this day, why San Francisco. San Francisco's always been a border town, borderland kind of town, where all the strange people come to do strange things, stranger than most things. Drugs, social experimentation, sexual experimentation, anti-authoritarian, if you will, experimentation.
It was anti-establishment. It was the first openly anti-establishment musical scene.
There really was no audience, you know, to speak of. I mean, there was no entertainer entertained saying. Everybody was entertaining. Everything there was entertaining. Every event, everything that happened was entertaining.
Experience was rather communal in the sense that Santana, the Grateful Dead, the Brother in the Holding Company, we would play many gigs together, benefits, strange gatherings of, they called the tribes, for lack of a better word. It was very pagan, a celebration of human events, celebration of humanity around you, enjoying the people that you were with to the nth degree, enjoying the herbs and vegetables that God gave to us.
I'm out of drugs. I don't have any on me. I have some across the room. Do you have any drugs? Excuse us, do you have any drugs?
We were just another signal that things are changing. Basic institutions are crumbling about you, and it's chaos.
The incidents are so bad, so contrary to our standards of human behavior, that I couldn't possibly recite them to you here from this platform in detail. 3 rock and roll bands were in the center of the gymnasium playing simultaneously all during the dance, and movies were shown on 2 screens. These movies were the only lights in the gym proper. They consisted of color sequences that gave the appearance of different colored liquids spreading across the screen, followed by shots of men and women on occasion. Shots where the men and women's nude torsos twisted and gyrated in provocative and sensual fashion.
So music was like the Pied Piper that led kids off the asphalt and out of the suburbs and into some other kind of reality. So we began creating free stores where the goods were free and the rolls were free. Free food, crash pads, free medical clinics.
Are you a musician looking for a band?
Doing what? Being able to
Bass guitar, lead guitar, drums, anything. We got several things.
Do they need a singer?
No, I don't think anybody needs a singer.
And by some fluke of an accident, I discovered I had this incredibly loud voice. So I started singing blues because that was always what I liked. And, you know, I got in a bluegrass band, played, you know, hillbilly music for free beer.
I first saw Janis Joplin when she sat in with Big Brother at the Diablo Ballroom, and we played together at the Family Dog. I started falling in love and lived together for 4, 5, 6 months, I guess, in a couple of different locations in the Haight. The Janis that I knew was not the performer that public is familiar with. She was very relaxed, very intelligent, very creative, ambitious, but not overly ambitious, and very into her family, and and enjoying the community of the Haight-Ashbury, which was very small and very affectionate at that time.
What do you need? Tell your mama, babe. What you want? Tell your mama, babe. What do you need? What do you want? What do you need? What do you want? Wow, I'll make everything all right.
What is it you think young people are looking for today?
Sincerity and a good time.
Are they finding it?
I don't know about you, Daddy. I'm fine. At least I'm having a good time. You know, I think they're looking for people not to lie to them.
The kids today aren't just going to accept what's laid down for them by the older generation.
All they want you to do, they want you to grow up, get an education, raise children, and die.
There's a whole sense of freedom in San Francisco right now. When you have a city that's free and the youth are free, they're going to go in every direction they can.
Peace in America, peace in Vietnam, peace in San Francisco.
After the first thing called the human being, that thing was like, yeah, there is all these people that we're all, you know, it's like, yeah, there is a community. There is this whole big community. We're all those people who were the weird ones, you know. And it was all of a sudden you discovered all these people who were like you know. And they were all people who were influenced by the beatniks.
The Beats were into their authentic expression. They were into living authentic lives that were based on their real feelings, not their conditioned feelings. And I think they stood as a kind of beacon to personal integrity in that way. And so you add psychedelics to that, and you've got the Haight-Ashbury.
The hippies are capable of extremely hard work. This is the house of a popular local band which plays hard rock music. They call themselves the Grateful Dead. They live together comfortably in what could be called affluence. There are many other similar houses or apartments at Haight-Ashbury, maintained by hippies who work in places where employers do not mind bizarre dress or long hair. Their concept of a new style of life unites them.
We would all like to be able to live an uncluttered life, a simple life, a good life, you know, and like think about moving the whole human race ahead a step or a few steps. And,
or half a step.
Yeah, or a half a step.
I think that most of the people who are hippies now came to it through drugs.
Yeah, but it's not a dope movement. We're not trying to spread dope.
You know, I think personally that the more people turn on, the better world it's going to be.
Look for a while at the time, cats on flower crown, walk jingle in the midnight sun. Pop, don't want a chip for silver,
this traveling road show with the Grateful Dead and the pranksters came swirling through called Can You Pass the Acid Test? So I was all for that. You know, I'm looking to always expand my horizons and peripheries and saw them off if possible.
Acid became a big part of the thing while it was still legal. And as soon as they saw that people were having fun, they, of course, made it illegal. Common hallucinogenic experiences were like tribal harvest festivals on the Sadie Hawkins Day. Total abandon, rejecting everything and looking for something positive and new. Total sexual abandon, drug abandon, dancing abandon.
We had an opportunity to visit highly experimental places under the influence of highly experimental chemicals before a highly experimental audience, you know. It was ideal, you know.
It's an interactive event, the Grateful Dead. We become one big entity tied at the heart. That's what it's all about. We're not the whole event, but we're an important part. We're what the event sounds like, and we offer a space to ritualize it.
So these were like mass excuses for letting yourself go without being the spotlight of anything. Even the bands, Grace used to say the only reason she enjoyed being on stage at these things was because the stage was the least crowded place at the party. And you could see up over everybody and see what was going on everywhere.
One time I hitchhiked from Austin to San Francisco with this guy, and then later, his name is Chet Helms, and later he got involved in promoting the dances in San Francisco.
I love the acoustic draping in the Avalon, which gave it a wonderful, warm, interior, womb-like sound. I love the sprung dance floor, which if you got 300 or 400 people dancing on the floor at one time, the floor would rise to meet you and lift you even higher, you know.
The Avalon and such similar institutions are the few socializing institutions which teach people how to live and be with one another.
They were experimenting with being loose at the beginning also. It's like, oh my God, it's safe here. And I can, eat my chocolate cigarettes without anybody catching me. I can hug a girl, or I can put paint on my face. I can put on Goodwill clothes. I can act out cavalierism. You know, there was a very nice feeling of open airness, even though you were indoors.
Well, Chet was the he was the mellow guy, and Bill was the bully, you know. So Chet did it in a nice homespun way, and Bill was really aggressive and really wanted to make a home for rock and roll, and he had big plans.
There was a jam session. Michael Bloomfield was playing Hammond organ, Jerry Garcia was playing guitar, Paul Kantner was playing guitar, and I waited for Jerry to finish the solo, and then, you know, they said, go ahead. So I jumped on it, and when I finished, Bill came over and said, hey, yeah, that's pretty good. You got a band? I said, yeah, I got a band. He says, okay. He says, I want you to come on over and open up for the Loading Zone and the Who, you know? At that time, everybody was playing blues. Jimi Hendrix, Cream, John Mayall, just louder and maybe a little more adventuresome chords, but it was still the blues. We came out with some blues, but the foundation was Afro-Cuban music. So all of a sudden, the women could dance.
And there wasn't this, wanna dance, honey? You know, my name is George. What's yours? Charlotte? Out of sight, Charlotte. No, they would walk in, and if 10 people were dancing, they would join a circle. Or they'd see one girl standing there, and they would just move. And they may not say anything to each other all night long. Or they may leave together. But if they didn't leave together, it was a thank you. Okay. That was a fantasy, but it was nice. And it was healthy. And nobody lost. And the key to those years for me was that everybody won and nobody lost. The musicians had a good time, the producer had a good time, the public had a good time.
Taking their social cue from the idea of endless summer and California culture. All of a sudden, almost overnight, people were growing their hair long, taking lots of drugs, and trying their darndest to all screw each other freely.
Sexuality became less important, oddly enough, in the sense that you didn't have to spend this long courting time of the boy always figuring out a way to get inside the girl's pants. There were no pants. It was the 60s.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. I'd like to go into one of those other things, do a thing dedicated to that little girl over there called Hartley. Thing called Foxy Lady. Look out.
I'll get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not, I'm really sleepy. But then I open the door and see somebody that appeals to me, Or like, first of all,